officially. All right, so clicking on that, go ahead and bring us into the game. And then I will go to my YouTube channel so I can read your guys' comments. All right. So today we are going to be playing, the Titanic Honor and Glory. It is their what they call demo 401, and so this will be. Sorry, just trying to get to the comments here. Part of their demo 401, and this is version 2.0, the update 2.0. So this is the one that just released, well, is going to release today, actually, in about an hour. So we're going to go ahead and get through this. I'm not going to read this for you guys. You guys can read it on your own, but basically it talks about how this is 50% of the ship. This is part of a demo that will be part of a new project called Titanic Project 401. I'll kind of go over that a little bit later. And then, but they are still working on the main game, which is Titanic Honor and Glory. So yeah, this will be really cool. And I know a lot of folks probably won't be able to download this because, you know, they have like office computers, not gaming computers. But nevertheless, this will be really neat. Let's go ahead and explore Titanic. They have options for understanding what this project really is. Well, might as well go back. So you can explore Titanic, about the project, you have your options for everything. And we will go right into first class. So I'll kind of explain things as we go along. But yeah, I have an early version of this demo. I was really happy that the Titanic Honor and Glory team, they had contacted me and said, hey, you know, would you want to be one of the first people to try it out? And so they let me try it out about a week ago today, and I was able to film my first reactions of everything. Here we go. The phone is charging, so I can't even keep the phone sitting upright, or else it'll just fall right over. So hopefully the phone doesn't lose charge. All right. Hello, everyone. So I have the settings so the mouse is really not so sensitive. That way we get a better flow through the game. So that way it looks nicer. Everything has been relit. All the lighting is really well done. Just fantastic work by the team. It is just amazing when I look at it. It is very different from the previous version, which is, what was it? Version 1.4 was the last one. So let me go down to C deck to show you something real quick. I think it'll be the first thing we get to see, because this was something I really wanted to see for a long time. This is the first class purser's office, and the reason why is because one of the, like, I want to say, like, one of the live streams that I saw a long time ago was Matt DeWinkler. He was working on this, and the one he was working on, I don't think was for the actual game. It was a model that was going to be used as a model for building the actual version of this purser's office in the game. But nevertheless, this was the model he worked on. And I thought, oh man, I really want to see that. But then a long time passed, and I started to get to realize that I'm not going to see it till the actual game comes out. So this was one of those spaces that I was really excited to see. And you can see just all the detail on everything here. Of course, a lot of these spaces in this demo that you will see were originally never meant to be seen by the general public. They were just going to be used as a model for building the actual game, where, you know, everything would be fully accessible. You know, in the full game, if I wanted to, I could open this this safe, of course. But anyway, one of the things I wanted to show you first, just to give them a quick shout out, is this is a little poster for them, but it's for Vintage Digital Revival, the people that made this thing. It's called, well, they're working on Project 401, And for anybody that's followed them, they're working on Titanic Honor and Glory, which is the actual game that will be done in Unreal Engine 5, and it will be 100% the ship fully accessible. Everything you could, from what I last heard, that you could like move furniture and stuff like that. You could rearrange things if you really wanted to. It's that kind of accessibility. But while people were waiting, while their fans were waiting, they decided to release some of these models, these rooms that they've been working on, just so people could explore the Titanic without having to wait however long it will take to finish the game. And so out of that sprung the demo, demo 1.1 to 1.4, which was the last version. Or was it demo 3? Yeah, well, anyway, there's been a few demos. Let me just put it that way. And it branched out and it became Titanic Project 401, which was to release a very, very polished version of the demo that they call Project 401. And that is not out yet. We are playing the demo for that project. And so that one will be available on Steam, and it will also have VR compatibility when that one releases. So it's essentially what we're playing right now, all 50% of the ship, but with VR compatibility, and it will have some things that that this version that you guys will be able to download in an hour will not have, such as it will have the night mode feature and a sunset feature, so you can see the Titanic during sunset. And currently the version that we are playing right now only has a daytime version. So when Project 401 comes out at a future date, you will be able to see the Titanic in a way that you've never seen before. So, all right, let's get... You know what we'll do is there's a certain space on Titanic that people really want to see. Hello, Emma Cruises. I'm so glad to see you here. Yeah, the reflections on the wood is very realistic. It is unbelievable. That's a painting, but yeah, it's just incredible, just incredible. But one of the spaces that I think we'll visit twice in this live stream, because I know people are going to want to see it, is the engine room. I'm sure everybody is just dying to see it. So we're going to go visit the engine room. And you're going to see one of the features that makes this version of the demo playable by more people. I know some people had trouble with the previous demo. And I'll explain it. So you can see, to get to the engine room, we have to go to Scotland Road, which is through this door. To get to Scotland Road, we press F, and that will load us in to the Scotland Road area. So one of the ways that they were able to optimize the game and make it playable on more computers than just the super powerful ones was by actually separating the zones of the ship into areas that you have to click a button to load into. Which I know some people will be like, oh, but I liked it the way it was before, where you could just kind of roam around and do whatever. It's still like that. As you can see, it loaded really quickly. It's just that, you do have to wait a few seconds to load into a separate whole area of the ship. Thankfully, everything was kind of compartmentalized into maybe like a handful of areas. So it's not like you have to load into a whole bunch of different rooms individually. But anyway, we're going to go aft along Scotland Road. Scotland Road is the working alleyway of the ship. A lot of these ships had working alleyways, and on Titanic it was Scotland Road. And this is the doorway into the engine room, so I hope you guys are really excited to see this. We'll come back towards the end of the live stream to go through this area again. So this is what it looks like, the main engine room of Titanic, looking down at the top of the heads of the cylinders. So Titanic had two of these triple expansion, quadruple cylinder reciprocating engines. Reciprocating engines being a lot like the modern internal combustion engine on a car, except that a lot of the parts are openly visible. And so, yeah, it all ran on Steam. And these are the tops of the 4 cylinders. Let's see if I can identify them. This here would be the high pressure cylinder. High pressure cylinders are the smallest in diameter because there's a lot of pressure inside. And then you got the intermediate, which is right next to it. The intermediate is just a step bigger. And then from the intermediate, it branches out into 2 other cylinders. They are 2 low pressure cylinders. So here's a low pressure cylinder. It's the largest size on a reciprocating engine. And the other low pressure cylinder is on the far end over there. And yeah, so that is how the steam was split up to power the engines. Now we're going to go down. So you can see the engines are actually working right now. And it was actually kind of interesting. That took my friend by surprise because I did show my friend this. But he was like, hey, you know, this room isn't as big as it looks in the movie Titanic. And I said, yeah, you know, that's, you know, James Cameron really wanted to get a good point of view. But the actual engine room of Titanic, the room itself is smaller. The engines are about the same size they showed in the movie. But the room itself was smaller, and that's because on a ship you want to maximize the amount of passenger accommodation you can. You don't want to waste space on a ship. So let's go ahead and climb up onto this thing. Here's a trick for you guys that download this game. When you go up onto these catwalks, it'll stop right here. You see this pipe. If you press the control button, you will crouch down, and then you can crouch under that. Okay, so if you guys are going to play this game later and you want to see these angles because you want to go up on these catwalks, you have to crouch by pressing control in order to crouch down and see. So these are the engines working. Pretty neat. And yeah, so I guess if you guys are wondering which of these cylinders are what do they do? So basically, these 2 rods here that are kind of dancing together, those are called eccentric rods. And basically, they're in charge of providing the direction that the propeller shaft will turn. It's really complex to kind of explain how it provides that direction, but let's just put it this way. It will turn this direction when this particular what do you call it? When it's aligned to the left like this, and if they were to align the whole set a little bit to the right that way, it would go the opposite direction. It is kind of too complex to explain verbally. You'd have to kind of see something. Spam phone call, I get that all the time. And then this is the main, what do you call it? Cylinder rod. So this is where the steam actually comes out and then pushes down on the, what do you call it? The propeller shaft. But anyway, these eccentric rods don't just provide the direction. You can also see that it kind of pushes up into the engine. And what that does is it provides the back and forth directional movement necessary to power the main cylinders. So, you know, they need to have steam pressure pushing the cylinder down and then steam pressure pushing the cylinder back up. And to change that direction, these eccentric rods provide that with their upwards motion like that. So they actually do kind of double duty. They provide the direction of the propeller shaft, but they also provide the back and forth necessary to move the main cylinders. So yeah, that's what makes it a reciprocating engine, is that its own motion helps keep it going. It's kind of interesting. They put these buckets here, so we can't actually go further past here, but there's still plenty of area up here to kind of explore. So, so you can see they leave these boxes and things, so you can't go too far. But we can kind of look around. This main engine room, I would say, is about 3 decks high. Now, I am no expert on Titanic, but using my knowledge of the Queen Mary, I can kind of help help us understand a bit more about how Titanic's spaces were laid out. But yeah, this appears to be about 3 decks high, which is, you know, just about right. These engines were huge. Let's go ahead and go further down. You can see they've put up a chain, so we actually can't go too far forward, which I'm a little disappointing because I was kind of hoping to look up and see, because you see the daylight coming in. That is the it's a what do they call it? It's an engine room hatch is what they call it, and so that's where fresh air could come in, but also the hot air from this room can rise up out of the ship directly up to the top of the ship. So that's kind of how this works. And I believe that console there helps someone to kind of keep track of the speed of the cylinders, the pressure that's going into them, all that kind of stuff. They can kind of keep track of all that. I'm imagining all those red wheels in the background also control possibly the amount of steam going into the engines, but I don't know for certain. That's what they kind of look like to me. So this is the bottom of one of the main cylinders, and that's the crankshaft there. So it's turning the propeller shaft directly. And there's a space over here where we could actually look at it. Here we go. Here's a catwalk. We can't go too far down the catwalk, but it does give us the ability to kind of look down along the crankshaft. That's the flywheel in the background. So the flywheel, it helps to provide the momentum necessary to keep the engines going, but also it's attached, it's got these teeth on the flywheel that allow for the turning engine, which starts the engines at the beginning of the day if it's, you know, about to set sail from Southampton or from New York. They need to slowly crank the whole shaft a little bit just to get the main engines going. So that's what the teeth on that flywheel are for. So if we look this way, we can see the other part of the crankshaft. So yeah, pretty neat how big this engine is. I don't know for certain, but it could be the largest reciprocating engine ever installed on a ship. But if somebody knows of a ship that has a larger one, let me know. So you can see these chains keep us from going too far. Oh, these are the telephones that connect to the bridge and possibly other areas too, because I'm sure that there's a reason why there's more than one. But yeah, pretty neat. What do you guys think? I kind of want to see your reaction. See. Silicon says, "Are you allowed to stream this?" Yes, absolutely. I was given permission. I signed a non-disclosure agreement that had special stipulations that said as long as their stream started first, then right after that I could do my live stream. I gave them an hour, so even though I could have started this stream an hour ago, I gave them an extra hour because I was just kind of like, well, you know, their stream should come first. But yeah, so yeah, pretty neat. All right, so this is the engine rooms. We'll come back towards the end of the stream to see them again because I know people are really going to want to see it. But we got other places to explore. All right, so I don't even know where to go, to be totally honest. Well, I might as well take you to the other engine room. This is the second engine room. Titanic did have two, but this engine room does not have reciprocating engines. It has a single turbine engine. We can't go too far down the ladder. You see there's a bucket stopping us. But let's see, if I point the camera in this direction, you can't even tell because it's, you know, a turbine engine is surrounded in a casing, but that big box, that big white box down there is the condenser. And then right in the middle of this room, which you can't even see if this railing is blocking the way, but right in the middle of the room is the actual turbine. It's right below me. In fact, I think part of it even is running. Yeah, even the end of it is right beneath me. So that is the steam turbine. It ran off of the exhausted steam from the reciprocating engines. So pretty neat. So that's what powered the middle propeller on Titanic. Can I don't think I can go up. I can. Oh, here we go. We can go up a little bit. So up here, you know, I actually don't know what these are. They are steam-powered engines of some kind, but as to what they turn, I do not know. They could be pumps for the condensers, because once the condensers, they condense the steam back into water. It's got to be pumped somewhere, possibly back to the to a tank or even back to the boilers. So those could be pumps for that, but I do not know for absolute certain. And then when we came into this room, I kind of looked directly down, but we didn't see that there's this room here. It appears to be some kind of office. It could be the engineer's office. Don't know for certain. THG did provide me with a special map to see all the spaces that I'm at, but I have to use the map on my phone while I play the game because I only have one screen. And so it kind of makes it difficult to do that. Nathan says, do you have any tea and biscuits at hand? Actually, I have tea at hand, so I made myself a little, you know, spot of tea. I'm glad you reminded me because it was going to get cold. So they have all these little corridors and things now. I'm sure this one already existed, though, so I'm not going to waste your guys' time with that. We're going to try to see some stuff that wasn't there before. Watertight door. You have to go through that. This was the third class entryway, so you guys probably remember that from previous versions. This area was previously unlit, and now we are blocked by 2 sacks of potatoes. That doorway leads into second class, so a lot of second class is still the same as it was from the last demo. So I don't think any of these rooms are open yet. Let's see. Yeah, I don't see any open doors. So actually, I've been playing this game for a week, you guys. I still haven't seen all the spaces. It is so big. The ship is such a maze. And you guys will see that through the live stream. Thank you so much, Granny Gaming, for the donation. Love this new demo. It's very cool. Have you, yeah, are you saying that because, have you been able to play it or just because you're watching how it's going? But these are some of the cargo hatches. That's why they're such open spaces. And what's kind of cool about these cargo hatches is that even though they lead all the way down through the ship, sometimes even towards the bottom, you can deck them over so that way you can create more spaces for cargo. But you see how they have those steel beams going across the side? Those are removable. It was like that on Queen Mary as well. It just provides extra space up the hatch to store cargo. Okay, let's see what this is. There's a little pantry here. Look at that. Are we in second class? I forget. We could be in second class right now, actually. I don't remember. But this is... yeah, this is a pantry. Okay, we must be... no, we're in third class. Okay, we're in third class. I forgot that we're towards the stern, so if we were towards parts of the bow... ooh, what is this? Oh, look at that! It's a third class cabin. I didn't even know they had these open. You see what I'm saying, you guys? Like, I've been playing this game for a week and I've never seen it all. It is incredible. That's why, like, I hope you guys don't expect we're going to see everything in this live stream, because honestly, I've been playing this game for a while and there is just too much too much to see. Oh my gosh. So, okay, so there's nothing back there. Let's go back this way. We'll go up the stairs. Well, wait, what's back here? Closed cabins. Can I go through this door? Sometimes if you approach a door, you'll get a little thing at the bottom of the screen that says press F to enter. Or not F? Or is it? Yeah, it says press F to enter. But if it doesn't, then you know you can't go through the door. So I'm sure this is just yeah, same area. So if we go up a level, yeah, we're still in third class, that's for sure. Does anyone know what these are? They look like drinking fountains for like refilling water or something, or maybe even like hand washing stations, but I really don't know. I really don't know. Someone left their trunks here. Now we can't see this area. All right, let's go up again. Maybe we should go back to Scotland Road because there's some things to see there. We've already seen these spaces. This is the third class general room just beneath the poop deck. And if we, oops, I didn't mean to crouch, I meant to run. And then this is the third class smoking room also underneath the poop deck. So I'm not going to go too much into it, but they've added lit cigarettes or cigars. See that? So, yeah. I don't know what he was reading, the Bible or something. Left his cigar smoking while he's reading the Bible. We'll go back down to Scotland Road because there is something new to see. Well, actually, I don't know if I know my way back to Scotland Road from here. I might get lost. So we'll explore other parts. I'll take us back to Scotland Road later. We're gonna have to go there anyway later to can I go through here? Pretty sure I can. Yeah, F to second class. Mike says drinking fountain. It does look like a drinking fountain. All right, so here's an example of one of the cool things about this game. You can actually see the sunlight streaming in. And what's really cool is, you know how like when you see sunlight streaming in through the windows of your room, the dust, the particles in the air catch the light as they move, right? So you can actually see that in this game. It's probably not that visible to you guys. This is only in 1080p for you guys. But there is actual dust particles moving in the light, and it creates this kind of mist in the light. So it's really neat. There's the ocean. So we are in second class. All these spaces are the same as in the previous demos. So I'm reluctant to show them all to you guys because they're exactly the same. The only difference is that the lighting makes it look so much more realistic. This is the aft mast here. You have to go around it. Yeah, so all the same. That's why I'm kind of reluctant to show that to you guys. But we will go further up. I forget how much further up we have to go. Actually, I think that was that was the top of this staircase, so we can't go further up here. We can go through, well, here. We'll just explore a little bit of this little outdoor second class promenade. It leads down to the well deck, so if we were to click F, we would go down there to the well deck. And then beyond that is the poop deck, all the way back there. So we'll probably go there at the very, very end of this live stream. PDR Studios, it is free, and it will be available for download in about half an hour. Okay, so this is the other second class staircase. In here is the second class smoking room. So it's pretty neat. Again, it's the same spaces from the previous demo, but just the new lighting makes it look really cool. So I gotta go up one more. Take note of this because there is no A deck for second class, okay? But there is this random window, which is kind of, you know, frosted, and it looks into a room. So take note of that. So we have to go up to the top of here. We got to the boat deck. Woohoo! Look at that. That is so neat. You can see the smoke rising out of the funnels. The lifeboats on the Welland davits. And, you know, a lot of this is the same models from the previous demo, but it looks so much more real because of the better lighting that they have. Really, really just fantastic. Okay, so we're going to go forward on this deck. This, I've been looking for this. This here is the dog kennels. It's a bit more lit than it was before. Before it was very, very dark. You couldn't see inside that well. But in fact, you can see it now. So there's probably, there might be just about 12 dog kennels inside. So that's pretty cool. Queen Mary also had dog kennels up on the top deck as well. I wonder if this leads anywhere. Aha! Look at this. I've never been through here before. I kind of want I kind of want to explore it because I've never been through here before. Oh, what? It's a spiral staircase. You guys are going to get dizzy watching me do this. Oh, there's a door here. Can't go through it. Where are we going? Okay, there's a chain there, so I know I can't go further. It goes into, aha! Linen storage. Look at that. Ooh. Here's a fan for blowing air into the ship. More linens. These are like bed sheets. This is definitely new. First class aft staircase. Okay, we were going to first class anyway, so might as well. So, T. So even though you have to load into the different classes, the thing is that at the very least, when you load in the spot that you were just at. So you can see we're at the bottom of the first class aft staircase, but that's the door we just came through. So it's not like I loaded into a completely different area. I loaded into the space on the other side of the door. So that's a pretty cool thing. So this is the bottom of the aft staircase. Let's see if we can look up. So the aft staircase doesn't go down very far, so it's just 2 decks to look up. But oh, the Maids and Valets Saloon has been decorated. The tables are set. So that's pretty neat. Oh, and there's another little treat for you here. This wasn't in the previous versions. You can see the little galley for serving the maids and valets. And yes, I did my research. Valets is a correct way to say valets. You can say valets or valet. It doesn't matter. Both ways are acceptable. They have been used in history. So, but it is very British to say valets. I'll just put it that way. So yeah, there's a little galley for the Maids and Valets Saloon. No doubt, here's access to a first-class corridor. So I bet this didn't even just serve the Maids and Valets Saloon, because there's the window into it. But it didn't just serve the Maids and Valets Saloon. It probably was also a little galley for providing tea and pastries to the first-class staterooms. Here's a bunch of the plates stacked up. Really neat. I kind of want that teapot. I'm sure someone sells a replica of it on eBay, but it's probably really expensive. It's funny. Chris says, "Are we able to see the Titanic's galleys?" Well, we're in one. Yeah, there's a few galleys that you can see. Not the main restaurant galleys, but we can see some of the galleys from other areas. And then a lot of the staterooms are open. I don't even know where to go, because it is like a maze. Because they've added so many things to this version now. There's an open door over there. Oh, linen storage, but that was already... I see daylight, so I want to go towards it. It's a stateroom. Look at this. This is absolutely beautiful. And look, you can see the marquetry panels on the walls. These are the beds. I'm a big fan of like rare wood veneers, so seeing these marquetry panels is just brilliant. Wow. I don't think I've been in this room yet, so this is also new to me. Huh. Wow, look at that. That red. So vibrant. I got no reflection. Jeez. Can you imagine just staying... Look at this. Look at the way the light shines onto the wood. It looks so realistic. And look, there's your call buttons for calling the stewards. I'm sure there's one by the beds too. Well, those actually might be light switches, come to think of it. But the white one might be a call button though. That's the thing. Every one of these rooms had a call button, so I'm certain the white one was a call button. But why they would put multiple call buttons per room, I don't know. On Queen Mary, there was just one per room. So, let's see what's down here. So even down these corridors, I know they've added little micro corridors to it. So, because there were some that they just weren't ready to show yet. So there's another daylight on the other side. Oh, I've been in here. But yeah, this is cool. This is one of the more plain white cabins. And then that is a traveling wardrobe. So they didn't just have suitcases back then for moving things. They had these traveling wardrobes that you would put all your clothes in and everything, all neatly stacked and folded and hung and everything. So pretty neat. And those are those swing portholes. I need to find out if Queen Mary had any of those. I don't think she did. I think actually on Queen Mary, the stewards provided wind scoops for the particularly hot areas. They only provided wind scoops for when they were going on cruises to like the Canary Islands. Contrary to popular belief, the Queen Mary never went to the Caribbean. She went to... were we just in there? Whoa. Well, here's another linen storage room, but, oh, so this wall didn't render in. Let me just explain real quick. The version I am playing is version 2.0, but it's an early version of 2.0. The one that is releasing in 20 minutes for the general public will have these bug fixes already done. So don't worry, if you see bugs in my version of the game, that's because I'm playing a slightly older version of the game that you guys will be playing in 20 minutes. So don't worry about that. I have talked to the team and they did tell me about that. So they've opened some of these cabins. Here we go. So this is I'll see what I'm talking about, another bug with the ceiling, but that's okay. They did tell me that they were fixing those bugs. So look at that. Yeah, in 20 minutes. Well, not in 20 minutes exactly, but when I'm done with this live stream, I will be downloading the version you guys will be downloading. So that way I don't have these bugs. But you can kind of see the cabins. These are what typical inside cabins look like on Titanic. When people think of first-class cabins, they think of those huge suites that are along the sides of the ship, but they weren't all that like that. So, another one. And then this should be the Strauss suite. We've already been here plenty of times, but I know you guys love it, but they did change the color of the tablecloth. This is one of my favorite rooms, not just because of the gold gilding, but these beautiful wood panels. They're almost reddish in color. I love it. I love these wall panels. I don't know what kind of wood it is. So, and then right through here is the sleeping quarters. Look at that, the gilded beds. Jeez. You know, the only hotels I can think of where you would actually find gilding on your furniture and stuff like that would be like in Dubai. I can't think of any fancy hotels, even in the United States, that would have like gilded furniture. Brass, maybe, but yeah. So we've been in here a few times. We know what it looks like. Okay, we're going to continue forward. We saw the purser's office. I explained a little bit about Project 401. Now here's one place I did not explore since I re-downloaded this version of the game, because I wasn't really certain if they did add anything new. Well, here's a galley. Look at that. I think they added something like 75 new rooms and stuff since okay, this was available in the last version of the demo, but yeah, pretty cool. This is a phone switchboard. But yeah, so yeah, there is still a lot of the ship I have not seen, because like I said, I think they added something like 75 rooms in this version, so it is absolutely ginormous. I'm just checking to see if there's any open doors that I could... Something looks open over here. Maybe it's just a little... Yeah, it's just a little corridor. You never know. Some of these things might be a doorway. Like I said, they sent me a map so that way I can kind of figure my way out, but I haven't really... I'd have to pull the map up on my phone because I can't see it on my computer while playing the game. Pretty sure this is a lot of the same. We'll go all the way forward. Okay, I don't see any open doors. I think these are all first-class cabins, by the way, just in case you're wondering. Ah, here's a... Oh, I've been through this cabin before. That is the forward well deck. Actually, there is something you guys would really like to see. Let's go to the promenade, because there is some new stuff on the promenade. So we'll go to the staircase. What is that? Oh. Okay. There's the lifts. I think, is it B deck, I think, that the lifts are available, that you could walk inside one of them, which is a feature from the previous version of the demo. See, another bug, but don't worry, that those bugs will not be there when you guys download the game. We've already been down there. Okay, I gotta remember not to like deviate Let's see. Is this area still closed off? Because I know in the previous version, yeah, it's still closed off. Okay, so, oh yeah, if you guys remember, you can go through here to see one of the private promenades. Oh, they closed the door. No. Well, I know that promenade is still available. You just have to go through this way. So you see, I don't know if you guys remember this, but in the previous version, this is the private promenade. And then you would come in through here, and then you would see this room. But there is something else that's new with this room, which is they open this door over here. So now you can walk into this, and this is a really cool room, you guys. Look at this. Absolutely beautiful. And I was telling my friend, one of the things I love about these wall panels is it looks like my favorite type of wood, which is quilted maple. Quilted maple has this weird three-dimensional wavy look, even though it's perfectly flat. And so it is absolutely beautiful. It looks like a hologram. The first time I ever saw it was on the Queen Mary in the second class stairwell. I was looking at the walls and I was like, are these walls like three-dimensional? I like touched it. I'm like, oh my gosh, that's just the wood. Like, so that became my favorite type of wood panel, and this room is completely paneled with it. So absolutely beautiful. Oh, and look, and these windows look out onto the private promenade. This thing looks almost like the Hales Trophy. Almost. Okay, so we'll go back out into the corridor. Ooh, look at this. So I've been in here too. These are new cabins that were not previously available in previous versions of this demo. So this is pretty neat. And then you can go forward into the next one, but let me just turn around here. They've got a fainting couch. I love that table. So you can see a little wash sink. Take note that these cabins, well, there could be a washroom in there, but I don't know for certain. I kind of doubt that that's a washroom, but I don't know. It could be a smaller inside cabin right in there. So all these cabins look the same pretty much. These ones I don't think are necessarily suites, but as you can see, they can be combined into suites. Queen Mary had the same thing. So you'd have these cabins that are right next to each other on the deck with the suites. And but individually, they could be used as individual cabins, but then you can combine them into suites. Yeah, I can't go further in, but I like the marquetry panels. There's space heater down there. So here we go back into the corridor. Thought I saw something. So it's like a labyrinth. You can see I'm like turning left and right and left and right. Because sometimes you walk up and there's a door that's open. You can just go right on inside. This one has daylight. So here we go. Here's another room. I don't think I've explored this one yet, but I can already tell I like the marquetry panels. Look at that. And how the light comes in through the window. You can actually see the ocean from beyond the window. That's pretty cool. Oh, Sorry. I was looking at the comments, so I wasn't paying attention where I was going. As we go back here, I'll show you guys one of the restaurants, which looks really neat with the new lighting, and they've done some changes to the decoration. So, but I just want to make sure I'm not missing anything. I don't recall this corridor being here in the last version. I don't recall it being there, but it could have been. But you see, it's like a little maze. You can't go into these. I checked previously. We'll go back. And then we are now by the aft staircase. So if we continue further aft, we get to the Cafe Parisien, which is exactly the same as it was in previous versions, but the lighting is better. So you guys remember in the previous version, that door all the way at the end, that you could go through it to second class. You still can. It's just that you have to walk up to it and press F. So, and then you load into second class. So this is the a la carte restaurant, one of my favorite spaces aboard the ship. And they've updated the carpeting to be more like a purple color, more like a lavender. So it's still all the same furnishings. The tables are still set the same, I believe, as they were previously. But the lighting is completely different. You can kind of see, like, more realistically how this space would have looked during the daytime, because they would have had some of the lights on, not all of them, but some of them. And the daylight would have definitely flooded this space. So it would have, I suppose in a way it kind of does look a little weird. You know, like some of the lights are off, but you know, having the daylight actually is a big deal on a ship, especially an ocean liner, because some of these spaces can feel really confined without natural daylight. So that was really important on ocean liners. But I was telling a friend that on these old ocean liners, is there anything? I keep forgetting that there's nothing over here. That was part of the restaurant on the other side of that wall. But on these old ocean liners, well, we can actually get a look here. This is the aft grand staircase. The forward one has the beautiful clock that is like right here. But we'll look aft. Yeah, you'll like this. This has new stuff. So this is the first class smoking room. If you recall in the last version of this demo, it was kind of hard to see the walls in the last version because the way the lighting was working kind of made the walls look super shiny and white. And it was hard to see these stained glass windows because they were just so blindingly white. But now you can see the images on them. There appears to be a beach, and then there's a waterfall. I don't know what those places are. And then up top, there are pictures of people in rowboats. But I don't know. And I only just noticed these chandeliers are pineapples. Pretty cool. All right, so that's the wall that would be so white you couldn't really see the wood paneling that well. But it is absolutely beautiful now. It's more realistic lighting. And if I recall correctly, these stained glass panels would have had lights behind them to keep them lit during the daytime. So that way, even if you were in this little enclave here, it still felt like you were surrounded by daylight. Or at least they were lit at nighttime. I don't know. So you all remember this, but I'll show you the new thing. First, I'll introduce it by going this way. So when you were in the first class smoking room, you could get your whiskeys, your drinks and stuff like that, little snacks even. And the way they did that was through this little pantry window. The stewards would grab the stuff. So we'll go into that pantry right now. So here's the first little pantry. This could be for setting up tea and libations. But if we go through here, this is, well, there is still more dishes for tea and libation. There's even a little safe down there. I'm not really sure what they would use that for. Maybe for the really expensive alcohols. Yeah, that appears to be an ice box, or refrigerator, if you will. So, yeah, but there are some little snacks here. So maybe they were stored in the ice box for a short period until they were served. I have no idea. No idea. But you can see the Veranda restaurant, or Veranda Cafe, I should say, right through that window. And then through this window is the smoking room. But if we go back through this doorway that we came, see there's the smoking room. We go through here. Oh, look, there's an axe. You can see the palm court. Yeah, palm court. So, why don't we go out to the promenade deck? So they have the animation where the doors slide open. We have to load into the promenade deck. Miles, yeah, I totally agree. This demo really captures all of that detail. It is fantastic. I can't believe, you know, I filmed a reaction to this about a week ago, and I was just like, I can't believe that, like, somebody made all this. Like, not even just in, like, in real life, that's pretty fantastic, but somebody made this digital version. It is incredible that this was done by humans, by imagination and research and stuff. So this is, remember I was telling you when we were going up that second class staircase, I said, remember that second class does not have an A deck. And there's just that frosted window. Well, when we go through this room, we can see that frosted window into the staircase of second class A deck. But through what was on the other side of that frosted window is these forced air fans that blow fresh air into the ship, sorry. So the fresh air comes in through these grates, and then it fills the room with fresh air, and then that gets sucked up into the fans, just in case you're wondering. Let's go for a jog around the promenade deck. Let's go over here first. We can see the well deck, the aft well deck. And you can see the poop deck, and the what do you call it? The docking bridge all the way at the very back there. We'll go there later towards the end of the game. We look up this way, we can see the funnels. Let's go for a little jog around the promenade deck, because yes, the entire promenade deck is now fully open. You can run around the whole thing. Drink some tea while we run. Nice spot of English breakfast tea. My favorite is Earl Grey, but English breakfast tea is good to get your day started. All right, so we can come out to the forward promenade deck, and we can see the bow. This is an area of the promenade deck we were never able to see before. If we look up, we can see the bridge deck, or I don't even, on Queen Mary, it's the bridge deck because it's a whole deck onto itself, but that would be the boat deck up there technically with the bridge area on the front. So I don't even know if they call it the bridge deck. But, yeah. We can see the forecastle deck. Unfortunately, in this demo, we do not have the ability to walk out onto the forecastle deck. But in the finalized game, you'll have 100% of the ship available to you. So that shouldn't be a problem. Can we look through these windows? Sometimes you can look through the windows and you can see stuff, but not through these. You can see they have these bulkhead doors, right? And the reason why is because sometimes these ships, they go through some powerful ocean storms. The waves can come up over the bow and smash the front of the superstructure of the ship. And so you don't want that water to wash through the whole promenade deck. So they have these bulkheads here to prevent that. And then there probably would have been a scupper or something here in the corner to drain that water away. But I don't see it here. So we can kind of continue on our little jog. We'll abbreviate the jog because I do want to go through here actually. But you get the idea. We can go a full loop around the promenade. That would take us all the way back to where we just started our little jog. But we're going to go into this forward area first class. Ozzy says, can you go to the bridge? Absolutely. Okay. So you can see we just came in through this door here. So we are now at the base of the forward first class staircase. This is the bigger of the two staircases. It's not only like the area is wider and larger, but it's also a taller staircase. Goes through way more decks. Goes from boat deck all the way down to E deck. Technically past E deck if you're going down to the swimming pool, which is another place we'll visit during this live stream. Why not? And it's 3:01 right now, 3:01 p.m. So actually right now, the game should be available for you guys to download. You go to Titanic Honor and Glory. I don't have the link here because I was waiting for them to update the page before I could post a link. So I don't have the link yet, but when this live stream is over, I should be able to post the link. But basically, if you want to download this game, just go to Google, type in Titanic Honor and Glory. I think the website is like THG or TH Glory? No, I don't know. But just go to Google, type in Titanic Honor and Glory. The first thing that shows up is their website. You go to their website, then you go to Demo, and I don't remember that being open. And you should be able to download it there somewhere. There's the lifts. So the ceiling, once again, there's a little bug, but the version you guys will be downloading should have these bugs fixed. So I'm playing a slightly earlier version of the demo that is released right now. Here's a forward room, nicely furnished. There's a space heater, a his and hers sink, some bunk beds. You can kind of see out the window to the bow of the ship. And then there's a room just like this on the other side if we go through this here, but we're not going to go to that room because there's something better to see. This is the, here's one of the shared restrooms, the toilets. So a lot of first class on Titanic and even Queen Mary too had to share public toilets. But thankfully this was a luxurious ship, so they were kept quite clean. That's interesting. You got these toilet seats are just these wood panels that sit on top of the toilet, and between people, the steward will come in and change out the toilet seat with the fresh new one. So, no doubt they probably clean the old one with a rag or something. These are the call button alerts. So these should have the cabins of this area on here, and then if one of these areas lights up, they know what cabin is asking for a steward. But yeah, there's the other room. It's identical. It's just mirror image. So we'll keep going this way. There's none of the rooms down these corridors are open. I've been here before. I've seen the likes of this before. We'll go up the next deck in just a little bit. We're going to go through here to the first class main lounge. If you guys remember the old version of this demo, you'd get to like this point and then all of a sudden like you would hit a a lag because the room would have to load in. Well, because we've already loaded into the entire first class, you don't have that problem now. So this is the reading and writing room for exactly what it sounds like, reading and writing. You have to remember there was no cell phones, and even then telephones, you know, when going across the ocean was just not a thing. So if you wanted to write a letter to somebody and you wanted it to get to them by the time you got to New York or to Southampton, well, actually, no, it wouldn't even get to them by that time, actually, because you'd be on the ship, so that letter wouldn't go anywhere. Well, no, actually, there is a way. You could write a letter, and then you would take that letter down to C deck to the purser's office. Then the purser would send that letter over to somebody who would... Okay, so the purser would give that to a person who would then put it in a vacuum tube that goes all the way to the what's his name? To the Marconi operator. Marconi operator would tap that letter out into the telegraph, and the telegraph would send your letter across the ocean to land, where that telegraph would it would then go to the various places it was being sent to. So kind of like, if you can imagine sending a a virtual letter. It's kind of hard to describe. It's almost like sending an email, except a bunch of people are involved in moving that email across the world to your location. So this is the first class main lounge. All the models, I think, are the same as before. I think they did change the carpets a little bit. But the difference is that the lighting makes this room so much more interesting because the lighting is so realistic. So Sam says the page still isn't updated. I'm sure it will be soon. They're probably running into some issues. Daily Dose says, does the demo still have a nighttime version? This version of the demo, no, does not have a nighttime version because they had to redo all the lighting. So, but this demo is now considered a demo for a slightly upgraded version of this, which they call Project 401. Project 401 will have a nighttime mode and a sunset mode. And Project 401 will also include, you have the ability to learn about the ship. It'll be kind of like, they described it as like a digital museum of the ship, because you could go around and listen to testimony of, you know, Titanic, possibly it's sinking, I think. And then you could also like see photographs, old photographs of the ship, and you could... yeah, you could learn about the ship that way. But yeah, it will have all these cool things. It'll also have music. So this version I'm playing right now does not have music, but the official Project 401 will have music. And that will be released at a later date. They have not announced a date yet for that. So we just saw the smoking room earlier, so we're not going to go back in there. But on these sides, we have these cabins. So... this, I believe, is Father Brown's cabin. It was available in previous versions of the demo. And then along with the other side, we have Mr. Andrews' cabin. Thomas Andrews, the chief engineer and designer of Titanic and the Olympic-class ships. So, you know, Olympic, basically. But yeah, this was his cabin. It was available in previous versions of the demo, but, you know, obviously the new lighting makes everything look so surreal. So what maybe actually surreal is not the right word. It makes it look very real. Okay, so we're going to go all the way back to the front because I believe it is... No, we have to go... yeah, we still have to go to the front of the ship, the forward area, in order to in order to go up a level, and we'll go see the bridge. Towards the end of the live stream, we will be seeing the engine room. So we'll go up the stairs. So yeah, we started off this live stream by seeing the 2 engine rooms, and we will. Oh, scary! I saw the painting, but I thought there was a person standing there. I was like, what? What is that? This is the gymnasium. Same as it was before, just better lighting. Makes it look more realistic. You got the electric camels here. I love these old machines. I would actually go to a gym if they looked like this nowadays, because you know, the thing is like these had like practical things, like you could like row, like you're rowing or whatever. You don't usually have that in gyms anymore. You know, you got this thing where you can race somebody, you know, on these bicycles. I would do that, race a friend. You know, that'd be kind of cool. Those electric camels are pretty cool because you sit on those, and those build your back muscles, your abdominal muscles, all that, because you have to sit upright as it's moving. So they were like practical things for building muscles and exercising, but we don't have that nowadays. Now we have the Bowflex. So it's just kind of like weird. But yeah, we will go back out onto the boat deck in a little bit. We're going to go forward first and see the bridge. But before we get there, here is the lift motors for the lifts. So this is the room that houses the motors. They have little skylights for providing light. I originally used to think that was a skylight, but now I'm just not sure. All right, so I'm pretty sure that's not a room. I'm pretty sure that's just more of the, yeah, that's just more of the corridor. Okay, so you guys remember we go through here and it goes to the officers' quarters. So we press F to load in. It'll bring us to the other side of that door when it finishes. So there we go. You know, if we turn left into the center line of the ship, we get to the Marconi wireless room. All the models here appear the same as well, just better lighting. This is where the 2 Marconi operators had their sleeping quarters. You can see the smoke from the funnels way up above us through that skylight. And then also they've opened this door permanently. You used to be able to open it yourself and walk inside and see the generator room for the Marconi wireless. They probably kept it permanently open, probably because people didn't know you could go in there. But yeah, you can see all this stuff, all available in the previous demo. So believe me, you guys, there are more spaces that are brand new. Trust me, we're kind of revisiting these places because everybody wants to see it. So we go through here. This is the wheelhouse of the bridge. So there's the little phones I was telling you about. If we go through here, we see the outer wheelhouse, I guess you call it. You can look out here and see the bow of the ship. Nick, don't worry about it. It's great to see you, though. So yeah, pretty neat. There's the crow's nest. Here's the funnels. Now, this whole boat deck is accessible, you guys. So we used to not be able to walk here before, remember? But we can now. We can walk here. We can go along the entire boat deck of the ship. This door leads back into the officers' quarters. I did not I don't recall seeing any of the officers' quarter rooms open, though. Let me go to the other side. Pretty sure not. Yeah, none of them are open. But yeah. Now, the thing about the boat deck, you guys, is that remember I said that in order to optimize the game to make it playable on more computers, they divided the classes and the crew areas. So you have to load into those classes and crew areas individually. So if we were to try to go through this gate, we would have to load into first class. And then if we wanted to continue on further down, we'd have to load into second class and so on and so forth. So that's the thing. That's the only thing about this particular deck. Below us is the promenade deck, the sheltered promenade, I should say. That you can run around a full loop because all that is first class. But up here on the boat deck, it was divided through the classes and crew areas. So the forward part of the boat deck, obviously, was officers' area. And then this next part we're in is first class. So we can roam around the entire first class without any issues. You can go up here. You climb up this. And you can go up to the compass platform. This is the highest part of the ship that, well, I guess this isn't the highest any crew member could go on the ship. And certainly no passengers would be up here, so I guess I should just not say what I was about to say. But it is a pretty high up area. Go down through here. That doorway leads down into the promenade below us, which is available in this area, so you don't have to load into anything to get there. What is this? Can I go through here? No. Okay. And then you see here's another gate. This leads to the engineer's promenade. So if we wanted to see that, we'd have to load into it. So there we go. Engineer's promenade, loaded into it. It loaded real fast because, you know, the engineer spaces are not as big as first class spaces. Can I go through here? No. Okay, I didn't think so. The other side, let me see. No. No. Okay, so you see that's why it loaded in so quickly, is because it's only this deck that had to load in. If you want to go to second class, you got to load into second class. And I'll just repeat one more time. The deck below us, which is the sheltered promenade, you won't have to do all the loading like you did here because it all is first class down there. So you can run around in a full loop without having to load in. But up here, because it is sectionalized into the different classes and crew areas, it requires loading in. So, okay, that is all that. But now we're going to go down into... Let's see, how do I get there? Okay, I know how to get there. All right, we're going to go to C deck. Is it C deck? No, E deck. We're going to go to E deck to Scotland Road again because we're going to go see some more crew areas, you guys. You know, let's go ahead and just run. So this is all second class, so if you guys want to see that later, you can. I've shown it plenty of times in previous live streams. So it's all the same, just new lighting. So we just keep going down. We're now on D deck. This is the second class main restaurant. I'll just give you a brief look. Actually, I think that's where the... No, I think I can go down one more. But yeah, second class main restaurant. Pretty cool. Okay. So here we go. This should be E deck. Yeah, we're right. Okay, so yeah, there's not much to see here. There's a little purser's office. You can walk in there. There's the door over there. I've shown that plenty of times. It is closed off beyond here. There's the little velvet rope, so you can't go further down. But we can load into Scotland Road by going to third class. So we press F to load in. Um, yes, everybody, we will be seeing the engine room a second time. So I did it at the beginning of the live stream, but we will see it towards the end of the live stream. So we will see that in a little bit. So yeah, just a recap. That is the aft engine room that has the turbo generator in it, or not turbo generator, turbine engine. Sorry. And then this is the main engine room that's there. We'll go back in there at the end of the stream because we've already been there at the beginning, but we will return to it at the end of the stream. We're going along Scotland Road because I'm going to take us through the boiler rooms. Because if you want to reach, well, actually, before we go to the boiler room, since we are on Scotland Road, I should show you the stuff. This is the second class steward's room. Again, the walls didn't load in correctly, but the version you guys will get to download soon will have these bug fixes. Mine is a slightly earlier version than yours. So, and I'm gonna reload my game too when I'm done with the stream, so that way I have the most updated version. Here, this is what I'm looking for. So this is a steward's lavatory. So you can see they got sinks for hand washing, sinks for deeper hand washing, urinals. Those might be like mop sinks for mopping. I don't know for certain though. You got your toilets, lines and rows of them. We've seen the toilets before. We won't be coming back here, so I might as well show you this. So through this lavatory, if you reach this door, you press F and it'll take you to where they load in the ashes. So I don't know fully how it works, but basically they bring up the ashes. You can fall, by the way, so be careful. But down this tube is one of the boiler rooms, and they bring up the ashes using this machine, and then they dump the ashes, not through that hatch, but I don't know where, but they dumped the ashes somewhere. Have I been down here before? I don't think so. Well, I have, but that's the boiler room down there. You know what? I might as well take you down into the boiler room through this because the other way to get into the boiler room is still there. So it's on Scotland Road. I was going to show you the Master at Arms' room because it's open now, so you can walk in. But this is the boiler room. It's much more brightly lit now, so you can really... Sam says, looks like the demo is up now. So yeah, if you guys want to download it, it should be available now. It's on their website. When I'm done with the stream, I will be updating the description of this video, so that way there is a link for you guys to download it. It is a free game. And it's very well optimized, so it should run on most people's computers now. Don't worry, we're going to explore this whole boiler room. This is one of the coal bunkers. I know it's really hard to see because it's dark in here, but this is one of the coal bunkers. And we can roam around inside. So let's see, if we keep climbing... Keep on climbing. We gotta. Sometimes, if you get into tight spaces, you can crouch, pressing the control button to crouch. You hold down the control button while you walk, and you should be able to explore spaces. So let's go ahead and cross this board here. So we are, once again, we are still inside the coal bunker. Now, I learned something new about these coal bunkers just by exploring them, which is that the coal bunkers. I've seen lots of images that depict them. But one thing I didn't know was that they actually did connect by going over the boiler room to the other side, to the other coal bunker. So this is an example of that. So below us, to the right, basically under this area here, are the boilers. And if you just keep climbing, let's see. Sometimes you can get stuck, so you got to go to the low areas. I've been through here before. See? Just keep crouching. There we go. When you crouch, you do have to go kind of slow. I keep forgetting that. But see, now we're crossing over to the other coal bunker. And here's the other coal bunker below us. So this was something I did not know that Titanic had. I thought each coal bunker was completely separate from the other, but while they are separated by a watertight bulkhead, they are interconnected. Now, some people have this weird belief that the coal bunkers are like double watertight because they think that there's a watertight bulkhead right here and then one right here. But there is only one between each room. And this is the proof of that, because if water had filled this space up, it would have just poured down into the other bunker on the other side. So the rooms are separated by these complete watertight bulkheads. So that way, each boiler room itself is separated, not the coal bunkers individually. If that makes any sense. We can't go up that ladder. I've tried. There's no way onto this area here. But we can drop down. So let's just go ahead and jump. Whee! Okay. So this is still the boiler room, but yeah, that's the coal bunker. So wait, what? Okay, I knew. I was like, there's no way this is blocked off. I was just here. Yeah, so you can see the various furnaces. Some of them are open, some of them are closed. But what's kind of neat is that you can climb up into some of the ash areas. And I will actually show you something really neat. So, sorry, I get stuck sometimes. So, like, if you get between that chain and stuff, you can get stuck. So, but let's see here. How many people are watching? We got 41 people. That's not bad. It's not good, but it's not bad, you know. I was pretty sure that they dumped the ashes down there, and then that ejected them up this pipe. But there is a room up there which the ashes get loaded into these buckets, go up through that big tube to the ash room up there. But I didn't see a way to dump the ashes from up there. It looks to me like you have to dump the ashes down that drain, pull this lever to let seawater flood this thing, and push all the ashes up out of the ship. So, yeah, that's my understanding of it, at least. Now, one of these coal bunkers has a little treat, which I think you guys would find amusing. Not amusing as in like ha ha ha, but just mildly amusing. Hold on, we'll find it. We can go into the next boiler room. See that? We're in the next boiler room now. Hold on, I'm just gonna quickly peek. I think these you can also climb in. Yeah, you can, see? More coal bunkers. This one you can't climb up. It's only the other boiler room. What is this one? There should be a number here. 1. So I think no, this is 2, but I think boiler room 1 you can climb up fully into the coal bunkers and like climb up and up and up. These ones you can't. See, if you try to go to this ladder, you can't go up. Sorry, I'm still looking for something to show you because there is something here that I wanted to show you because it's really cool. Aha! Here it is, you guys. The big, awful, deadly coal fire that weakened the steel of the ship to the point where when the iceberg hit, it broke open that wall way over there on the opposite side of the ship. Yeah, this tiny little coal fire did not do any irreparable damage to the ship. Coal fires were pretty common on these ships. They would have designed the ship to withstand a coal fire. Maybe not a giant raging one, but these small coal fires are pretty common, and they were easily snuffed out by just removing them from the room and then, dumping them out into the ocean. So as you can see, this coal fire was located in this area. This is accurate to the best of my knowledge. It was located in this area, quite a distance from the bulkhead, or I should say the hull edge. And the iceberg probably would have struck that area way up there along that wall. Sorry, I'm trying to climb in. Yeah, it would have struck like right up there where that seam is, I think. And but it was not way over here where this little tiny coal fire was. So yeah, that coal fire theory is a bunch of baloney. All right, so sometimes I get lost. Okay, well that's the way we came in. We'll come back through there in just a minute, but we can keep going a little bit further. Just a wee bit. On this side, the coal bunkers are all closed, and the dampers on the furnaces are shut, so you can see that this, and it's also pretty clean on the floor for the most part, so you can see that this side, they're not really using it right now. And yeah, you can climb up all those. And actually, there is more to show. Oh my gosh. Every time I round a corner, I'm like, there's more to show you. There's more to show you. But you can go as far as right here in Boiler Room 2, where you can kind of sit here and you can see all the boiler rooms going all the way down towards the aft end of the ship. You can't go into all of them, but it is pretty cool that you can walk into 2 whole boiler rooms in this version. So pretty neat. Let's go up because I want to show you guys something else that's pretty cool that they added into these rooms. So we'll go up. Here's the tops of the boilers. Up again, is that right? There's a ladder here. Oh yes, they do have these though. I don't know why, but these cavities, you can climb up into them if you want. For some reason, they allow you to. I don't know. There's nothing to do up there. It's just a steam pipe. So I don't know. But these are, you have to crouch to get onto this one. So just remember, if you ever get stuck and it looks like you still can go somewhere, just crouch and just see if it works. But yeah, see, this is one of those pipes that takes the ashes and then dumps it out the side of the ship. So it's a dead end right there, so we'll just climb down. See, and if I stop crouching, well, I guess we still can slide out of here if I stopped crouching. There we go. All right, so we need to go up one more level, though. Let's see. Okay, so go up. We keep going up. Yeah, you can walk all the way around the boilers up here. Well, almost all the way around, at least. This door here should lead to... Yep, it does. This door leads to Scotland Road, just like the other one in the previous version did. But we're going to keep going up, because there is a little treat up here. So this is the little air shaft thing that leads up. It allows hot air and gases that would normally build up in the boiler room to rise up through the ship and out this top area here. And of course, if you were a boiler room worker and you needed to get some fresh air or smoke a cigarette or something because it's your break or whatever, you can climb up here and there's a little hatch and you can go up to the top. But they have this little cool thing open here. And this is inside the funnel shaft. So this is the funnel shaft here, and you can see the funnel casing. This is the round part of the funnel that leads up all the way through the ship. The Queen Mary had this same thing too. The funnel shaft is a box that goes up through the whole ship. But to prevent that box from being overly hot and burning all the wood veneers in the ship, you know, through every deck, they have a funnel casing inside the funnel shaft. And that contains most of the heat and gases. So we are in between the funnel shaft and the funnel casing. Pretty neat. and we can go into the next boiler room. See? So, well, actually, if I move over here, you can look up and you can see the funnel. In fact, you can see the whistles. Yeah. There's a little, at the top of the funnel, there's a platform up there where you can see the whistles. But yeah, so let us go down. We got to go all the way to the bottom of this boiler room. This is the original boiler room that they had available in the previous demo. So you can see there's the door to Scotland Road. And then you go down this way. You can walk all the way around this this casing here if you go that way, but we're gonna keep going down. Chilling says, "Hi Alex, I like the microphone. It sounds great. A question: did Titanic have electric lights in her coal bunkers, or were they added for the convenience for the game?" So I'll answer that one first. So, yes, there would have been electric lights because otherwise the people in the coal bunkers wouldn't have been able to see. Now, if, as you saw, when we went through the coal bunker, there were multiple levels. There were ladders and things like that. Areas where the coal would get stuck up there. Now, I learned from a friend that the reason why these coal bunkers had all these levels with all these platforms where coal could get stuck was actually because it helped them to trim the ship, trimming meaning to keep it level. And so actually, if there was a need, they could shift the coal up there to one side of the ship because it was higher up, so it could actually have more of an effect on keeping the ship level because it's higher up. But then eventually, as the coal is used, they would have to shovel that coal and it'd drop it down here, so that way the other trimmers could provide coal to the fire stokers. As you can see, they used the wheelbarrows. They dumped the fresh coal right here at the base, and so the stokers would just shovel from down here and into the furnace. So the trimmers really, all they had to do was just take it from a wheelbarrow and just dump it in various areas. So that's how they did it. But yeah, they would have had electric lights in there just like they show in the game, so that way they can see what they're doing when they're up inside these coal bunkers. Very good question. Now this is where we go through the crew corridor. Before it was completely open, but what am I trying to say? Before it was completely open. Now you can see the door is closed, but you still can go through. See how it says F for Fireman's Passage? So we will just click F, but this is what the room looks like fully lit. Where does this ladder go? Can I go up? No. But that's pretty cool. I didn't even know there was a ladder there. What is this? Look, there's steam coming out of this pipe. I didn't even look in this area before. Pretty neat. I don't think we can do anything with this area here, but pretty neat. That looks like some kind of steam-powered pump right there. It could be for supplying water into the boilers. That's my first thought. Anyway, let's go to the Fireman's Passage. We have to load into it because it's a separate crew area, but it is still a crew area. So, see, that was the door. So it's not like we loaded into a completely different part of the ship. We went through that door, but it's still, yeah, so pretty cool. So, let's see. How did you walk through the bunker without getting dust all over you? You're not in the slightest bit dusty. That's funny. All right. So these are the spiral staircases that lead up into the crew areas. So we're going to go up the spiral staircase. Now, one was, see, this way down. So that one's for going down. This one is for going up. So we'll follow the rules here. I'm going to go up these stairs in a weird way because going up spiral stairs is actually pretty, makes me dizzy. So if I do this, it makes me less dizzy. All right, so first level up. And we have this little foyer. Now, none of these doors on this level I can go through, but we can drop down into this cargo hatch. So this is what a cargo hatch looks like when you look up through it. It was a lot very similar on the Queen Mary as well, except on hers, well, no, you still would have had things like this where there were crew areas on the sides. But yeah. And then the cargo hatch would have continued further down. We're actually on one of those areas I was saying earlier where on ships like this, they would deck them over as they filled up the hatches. That way, these little coverings through the hatches provide more space for storage. So we're on only one of the cargo areas, but there's a little maze here, so you can navigate through the maze. And let's see. Pretty neat. I actually like that there's a little maze here. And then, oh look, we found the buried treasure at the end. Wow. So yeah. Pretty neat. That's the end of the maze. But I thought that was pretty funny that at the end of the maze was a little treasure box. Pretty cool. So that looks like a milk cask. Pretty cool. Go back to where we came. And then we'll climb back up. Now, I've tried climbing up this ladder here. You can't do it, but you'll see later on, we can drop through that hole up there. So we'll continue up the spiral stairs to the next level. Do our little trick here to prevent getting motion sick. So next level up, I don't remember what deck this is. Look, wait, this way up to F deck. So if that's F, then this is G. Wait. Yeah. For a minute there, I was kind of like, wait, do I know the alphabet? Okay, so here's some crew quarters. Here's some benches for them to kind of hang out. We'll kind of wander through. So as you can see, that we're at the very bow of the ship. So the ship is getting narrower and narrower the further forward we go. And what's really cool is the Titanic Honor and Glory team, they actually made these areas with shear. If you look this way, the floor is actually slanting upwards. The ceiling is slanting upwards, just like on these old ships with shear. So that was really cool that they did this. So can you imagine staying in these bunk beds and your bed actually is not fully level? Your feet, because notice most of them are facing the same direction. But, well, actually, no, these guys, they're facing the opposite way, so their blood would have been rushing from their feet to their brain. I wonder, though, if on a real ship they would have leveled the beds, or if the beds would have still followed the curvature of the ship. I don't know. But, yeah, so there's another one. More crew quarters. You can see they didn't really have any privacy when you were crew on these ships. I mean, it's not like a cruise ship today where you might have like one or two roommates. You were bunked in with like 20 other people, and even then you might stay in a single area that has, you know, 60 other people in it. So pretty crazy. Pretty crazy. Now I've checked this area. You can't go through any other doors on this area, but we'll just continue up. See, there's another one of those. Looks like a drinking fountain. All right, so up we go to F deck. So on F deck, I don't think there's any areas. Yeah, there is actually. Okay, so we're going forward now, further forward on the ship. Here's another crew space towards the bow. All the bunk beds. The shear is getting very prominent up here. Now we're actually climbing just to get forward on the ship. So there's more bunks. But here's a cool thing about this area on F deck, you guys. This is the access to the chain locker. So we can drop down in. So these are the anchor chains on the bow. This is what a chain locker looked like, particularly on an Olympic class ship, but very similar to Queen Mary as well. there would have been these wood slats on the walls, so that way the chain links didn't get caught up on anything as it was going up through the chain tube. But yeah, so when the anchor chains are pulled fully in, the room fills up with anchor chain. But then when one anchor is out, you can see the chain locker pretty much almost empties. They do have to maintain a certain length of chain aboard the ship. They can't run it full out because remember, the chain acts as a counterweight. So they have steam powered equipment to pull the anchor chain back up into the ship, but to aid that pulling power, they need some of the chain to hang down, so that way it helps pull the anchor chain back up like a counterweight. So you'll never see on a ship them fully run out all the way to the last link on the anchor chain. So we can actually go back up the ladder backwards, and then you'll notice that if you try to get out, you go this way, you'll fall back in. You can't go left. When you go up, you move to the right where there's this little spot here, and then you go out like that. So I learned that the hard way. I got stuck in that chain locker for a long time because I was like, how do I get out of this thing? I keep falling off the ladder. So yeah, so you just, yeah, you do that. You can see the light streaming in through the ceiling. Is this? No access. Okay. I didn't notice there was a door there before, but all right. So we're going to go up the next level because none of these doors work. I've tried them. All right. So this area, yeah, there's a... We'll go up there in a second. There's something I want to show you, though. Does anyone know what this is? I bet most people are going to say, oh, it's a toilet. It's not a toilet. Can anyone tell me what it is? Anybody at all? Oh, let me just get a drink of tea. And while I'm waiting for you guys to answer, we'll go up here a little bit. So, yeah, I'll tell you what that is in a minute if nobody answers. So we're forward on crew areas. I haven't tried these doors yet. Those don't open. That doesn't open. I'm sure this leads to, yeah, this leads to the first class area. That does not open. Let's see. Some people say it's a water dump sink. Some people say it's for mail. One person says it looks like a toilet to me. In a way, it looks like a toilet. Miles High says a bedpan drain. Louis or Lewis. I'm sorry. I don't know how you pronounce your name. Louis or Lewis. You answered correctly. It is technically a garbage can. So what happens is you collect the garbage into garbage bags or bins or whatever. Most likely it's a bin. I don't think they had garbage bags necessarily. They probably dumped all the garbage into a bin, and then the bin was brought here to one of these things. There were multiple of these throughout the ship, and these were in the Queen Mary as well. And what you do is you lift up the lid, you dump your garbage in, and there would have been a lever or something. Possibly Titanic, it was probably different, but on Queen Mary, there was a lever next to it. And what you did was you closed the lid, you pulled the lever, and it opened a valve at the bottom, which dumped the garbage into the ocean right out of the hull of the ship. That's why it's located on this angled part of the hull, is so that way it dumps right out into the ocean below. So that's what it is. They emptied the garbage bins into those, pulled a lever, and then it all dumped out. Now, I don't see a lever next to this one. Either maybe they didn't put it in, or maybe Titanic's operated differently, where once you close the door, it automatically opens the valve. I don't know. But on Queen Mary, they had a lever, because the last thing you'd want is for a big wave to come up over the bow and then rush up through that hole and flood the inside of the ship. So there would have been a valve there to prevent any water coming up during a storm. But that's what that is for dumping garbage. There would have been multiple of those across the bow of the ship, possibly even the stern area as well. And on Queen Mary, it was like that as well. But yeah, they didn't have them amidships because the hull in those areas was too vertical. So, okay, so we checked that area. Now we're going to go forward. So let's see if this door, nope. But we can go, oh look, here's the top of the engine hatch. So that's the forecastle deck above us. Once again, I said we can't go up on the forecastle deck. If you try to climb that ladder, you will just fall all the way down to the thing, we were just there. But we can go through here. This is right beneath the forecastle deck. This is where all the machinery is for the capstans. And it was, once again, very similar on Queen Mary, except I'll explain the difference. You have all these steam engines. So the steam is coming in from the boiler rooms below, and they supply these little steam engines which can turn the capstans. Now the capstans are these things. See this thing with the golden top? There's one down here, but there would have been more up above. So this is not for a capstan. I'll explain that in a second. But this is for a capstan. So basically, you have like a reel of rope, and when the ship comes in for dock, they need to pull the ship closer to the dock. You don't want to ram the ship into the dock using the tugboats necessarily. You can actually just use the ropes to pull it further into the dock. The tugboats just bring it close enough to the dock that you can even get the ropes to the dock. But anyway, the point is that you wrap the ropes around this thing. The steam engines, using all their various gears, then turn the capstans, which allows the steam power to pull the ship closer to the dock and then hold it in place. And so that's what these are for. So this huge steam engine here would turn those, and the rod goes all the way up to the capstans on the deck above. Now, why do they have a capstan down here? Well, the reason is because if it was really, really bad weather, and let's say they actually need to dock with another ship out in the middle of the ocean. Let's say that ship needs to transport somebody. Okay, for instance, Titanic had a hospital on board. So if they ran into a freight ship where somebody broke their leg and they needed immediate medical assistance, and they're out in the middle in a storm, stormy weather, they need to pull that ship closer to the Titanic to rescue the person who needs the medical attention on board the ship. And so because they can't go out onto the bow because it's really stormy, they could bring the ropes in here and use this indoor capstan to pull the ship closer. It also helped for various other things too, but it's a basic explanation. But anyway, those are for capstans. Now this wheel is for the anchor chains. So these are the hog pipes for the anchor chain. So the anchor chain runs through that. But these things turn the machinery up on the deck above, which can pull the anchor chains up or down. So let's see. We can actually go all the way up to the very forwardmost part of the bow here. There's one of the mooring lines for the ship. What is that thing? That's a big pipe right there, but it doesn't lead down to anything. I have no idea what that is. But here's the other, what do you call it? The other hog pipes for the forward anchors. Yeah, because those hog pipes over there that we looked at, those bring the chain up from the chain locker up to the machinery that moves the chain. And then the chain comes down through here, down out the bottom of the bow to drop the anchors. Anyway, so we can go through here. As you can see, we can pass right through the rope. And then you can look out through this little thing here. So this is one of the mooring lines. And I do believe that they could have hooked up the extra bow anchor through here as well. The extra bow anchor was lighter, I believe, so a rope could have definitely handled it, I think, but the other bow anchors were pretty large, needed chains to operate them. But I mean, I could be totally talking out of my butt. I might have that wrong, but I think I'm right. But anyway, this is a port where the ropes could come in for the bad weather. So when you needed to, you know, hook up to that capstan there, the ropes would come in through this little thing here. Now we can climb down into here. This is I'll explain this when we go in. So we'll just drop on in. Whee! There we go. So this is basically a forward dry pantry storage for crew. So this is where they stored the food. These are probably sacks of potatoes. To be totally honest, they ate a lot of potatoes because they were cheap. I mean, to generalize, to like overly generalize, white people basically ate mostly only potatoes. So if you were from England or Ireland or whatever, especially Ireland, you ate a lot of potatoes. So they would have kept a lot of potatoes on board. You also got sacks here. Those could be sacks of flour. Not really certain. I think they should be white, white canvas if it is flour. So there could be grain in there, but I'm not really sure. I doubt they would have ground any grain aboard the ship. They would have had it pre-ground before they used it in breads or whatever. But you can see there's multiple levels where they would have stored the pantry. We can't drop down into the other levels, but you can see more sacks of potatoes. So that is, yeah, that is what they use this forward area for. So some people, actually this is a good teaching moment. Some people say, you know, if the Titanic had rammed the iceberg head on, the ship probably would have survived because it would have only damaged a few of the watertight bulkheads, but not the four compartments that were or the 5 compartments that were completely flooded, which doomed the ship. They may or may not be right, but the difference here is that, as you saw, as we were traveling through the various layers of the bow, there were crew areas there. There probably would have been crew sleeping there that night, a lot of them, and so you would have sacrificed a majority of the crew just to save the ship. Now, some people would argue that that's a good thing, you know, sacrifice a few lives for the sake of many. I don't know, but that's a whole other deal. But here's a watertight bulkhead. So you see, this is one of the bulkheads that would have kept the compartments compartmentalized and safe from the water. When Queen Mary rammed the HMS Curaçao during World War II by accident, she did damage a major part of the bow stem, and the thing that prevented the ship from fully flooding was the fact that she had a bulkhead right behind it, just like this. So there would have been damage to the front of the Queen Mary, but then the first bulkhead on the ship would have prevented water from spreading. So that is a little teachable moment for you guys, but we'll continue on. There's more to see. Can I go through this door? No. There's a lot more to see. You can go into this little cage here. Not very far, but not that you'd want to. There's a little valve there, so you can see the handle. I think this appears to be a forced fan blower, so it could be for ventilating the ship. Now we'll go through here because we're going to see something really cool. Here is a mess hall for the crew. So this is where they would have eaten. They would have all sat together on these benches with the edges rolled up. Here's a little steam-powered radiator for providing heat and warmth. So yeah, this is a mess hall. We continue further forward, and here's one of the stairways that we got to being up here in the first place. If we turn this way, here is the pantry or small galley that feeds the mess hall. So the mess hall right over there. On our left, we have the dishes and preparation area. Now, somebody do correct me if I'm wrong. I am a former chef, so I can identify a lot of the machinery in this space, but I do believe that this is a type of pressure cooker. So I believe that steam fed this thing and it pressure cooked stuff. So it wasn't like a pressure cooker pot like we would have on like, you know, on our stoves today. It was just a pressure cooker in general. You would put things like roasted meats or something like that in there. You would pressure cook it first, and then you could finish it off in an oven. But if I am wrong, do correct me, but I do think that's what that was for. Louis said that support that I saw in the front room. Let's see. Remember I said I looked at this thing and I was like, what is this for? That, he says, is the support for the front crane, the crane that's on the top of the ship that can raise the spare anchor. So that makes sense. I think that is correct. Yeah. Okay, so back to the galley. So we can see here are some soup vats. At least that's what they look like to me, soup vats. I have no idea what that is. You see, like, it looks like coffee beans. There's no way this is for coffee. I refuse to believe it, you guys. I refuse to believe this is for coffee. These look like soup vats. Maybe for making broth or something. Here's a potato peeler. So that's pretty cool. You dump the potatoes into this top thing here. They roll around inside that thing. They come popping out the bottom, completely peeled. Here's another one of those trash disposal units. You dump your trash, pull a lever, and it all dumps out into the ocean. Here's some spices and cheese and salt. A dish sink with cracked dishes. You got a prep station here. Here is one of their stoves. Now, there was some controversy. Some people were like, oh, the stoves and ovens on Titanic were electric. I think some were, but not all of them. The majority of them were coal heated ovens and stoves. Because you got to think about it, even the rich people at this time, not everybody, even the richest people, not everybody owned electric stoves. A lot of them still used coal stoves. They were just cheaper and more practical at the time. So electric stoves really didn't come into play until soon after Titanic sank, actually. You know, in mass production, mass purchasing, all that kind of stuff. Not till soon after Titanic sank. Probably closer to the 1920s, really. So, and Queen Mary famously advertised that all her kitchens, everything in her kitchens was either electric or was heated by steam, because they did have steam kettles. In fact, that's another reason why I think these are soup kettles, because I think these are steam lines. See, the steam comes in, goes all the way to the bottom of the kettle, the steam comes up through the kettle and rises. Now, I think these are just simple lids that they could lift off. I don't think these nuts, these bolts, really hold down anything. I don't think they're a pressure cooker. I think they literally, that's just a lid up there. Because you can pour, see there's the water? So you see you can make a soup by pouring the water into the soup vats. And the steam just boils the soup using steam power. So that's how a steam kettle works. Anyway, let's get out of this room because we've been in here long enough. That leads to first class over there. Those doors don't open, but we can go down this way. And you guys are going to love this. You guys are going to love this. Sam says barley. No, it could be barley, yeah. Yeah, I think you're right. Okay, so if we go down here, that leads to third class open space. We might need to go there soon. There's a further way down. These are probably more crew quarters and stuff, but there are sacks of potatoes that are stopping us. You see the potatoes, they're all conspiring against us to to explore the ship. I mean, there's like sacks of potatoes in the engine rooms and stuff. So, but there is this cool thing. So let me show you where we are again. There's that hatch and all the machinery up there. You turn this way. There's a doorway. There's stairs in front of us. But if you turn right, it's hard to see, but if you look at the floor, there is a way to turn right, and you enter this little room, and what is this? Is this one of those water slides at a water park? Why, no, it is not. In fact, if you go inside, hold on. There is a way to get inside. There we go. Go inside, press F to go to the crow's nest. So this was a cool surprise when I discovered it. We are on the crow's nest of Titanic. This is absolutely fantastic. See the 4 capstans on the forecastle deck down there? So there's the bell for alerting people. And you see they walked on these wooden grates here that prevented their shoes from getting soaked if it was rainy, because it would provide a little elevation from the bottom of the thing. Especially you have to remember also that it prevents their shoes from wearing away at the metal. Because there would have been, they expected that for years and years and years and years, there would be people standing here, constantly shuffling their feet and stuff like that. That can wear away the metal of the crow's nest. So they put down the wood, so that way the wood gets worn away. So that's why you have these wood things. You can see the ship here. Really beautiful. Just like fantastic. Now I had some people ask me, they said, Alex, what is the rigging for on the ship? Because they don't obviously use sails, so what is the rigging for? Well, the rigging on this forward area here, this could be used for signal flags, so for communicating to other ships as they pass by and stuff like that. But then some of the rigging here isn't actually rigging. Okay, if you can see, between the forward funnel and the mast is a really prominently dark, what looks like rope rigging, with 2 other rope riggings that come off of it on either side. So you might see that. That is actually antennas. That is the short range antennas for the ship. So I believe those antennas were, I don't even want to explain it. It might be too difficult for me to explain, but it's short range antenna waves. So it's like for, you know, radio and stuff like that. And then you might have seen at the very top of the mast are 4 other ropes that go down the entire length of the ship to the other mast, okay? Those are the long-range wave antennas. So those antennas okay, let me put it this way. Those really long antenna wires that go between both masts, those are the reason why Titanic was able to send a message like a telegram through telegraph in the middle of the Atlantic all the way to the US or to the UK. It is because of those really long antenna wires. So, and they could, if they were closer to land, they would use the short range waves, I think, to make it easier. But, you know, to put less strain on the long range waves for telegrams that must be sent further away. But yeah, so that is what a lot of that is it's actually antenna wires. And so even Queen Mary had that for the ship. And then of course you got a rope ladder to get up there to fix up the rigging and do whatever you need to do, maintenance, all that kind of stuff. There's there's the box with the telephone in it for contacting the bridge. Now we will leave the crow's nest. So yeah, Marconi antenna is what Louis said. Yeah, Marconi antenna. You got your wireless antenna, all that sort of stuff. So antenna wires, that's what all that is. So you get to the crow's nest by going to this crew area, and you'll know you're nearly there when you can see the daylight, the open air daylight. So yeah, was there anything back down here I wanted to show you guys before I fall? Oh, I fell. Okay, it's too late. I was trying to back up, but I accidentally went forward and then fell. So I was going to take us back to the 3rd class open space. I don't remember if I go back through the boiler rooms. You know, I'm just going to go all the way up again, because I don't feel like going through the boiler rooms just to get back to Scotland Road. Where's the thing? Oh. Okay. I went up the wrong way. I shouldn't have came up this way. That's the way down, but still. Okay, so go back through here. Well, wait, maybe we should go to first class because I could show you guys the pool. It's not, nothing really changed there, I don't think. Oh, there is something new at the pool area, actually. So we'll go to first class to see the pool. Let's see here. So, I hope you guys are enjoying this. I think it's amazing. I think it's just absolutely fantastic. Pretty cool. So this is probably one of the few areas on the ship where you actually do jump location. So where we were before was beneath that cargo hatch right there. You see that rounded domed hatch? We were just under there. We went down a level, went through a doorway, and all of a sudden we appeared over here. So that is one of the few areas on the ship where you actually do jump an area, but most places when you load into something, you load into the other side of the door. So, pool. We'll go down to the pool because the pool is cool. Fool. All right, let's see. There should be a doorway. Let's see. Does this one work? It does. Louis says, there's no channels like we have today. You need to use the high one because if everyone using the long range, it's impossible to communicate. Yeah, exactly, yeah. Because they had a limited capacity for sending out so many messages at once. So you couldn't flood the long range antennas with all that stuff. If you had the ability to use the short waves to reach a closer location, then you should have to use the short range waves. Is that what I'm trying to say? Okay, so we're gonna go. Oh, we have to go down a level. Actually, no, we're on the right staircase. For a second there, I got lost. I was like, oh, we're on the wrong staircase. No, we're on the right staircase. I just need to go all the way down to the bottom to get to the pool. So this is the usual area on D deck we used to start off at. You know, you can even see the first class restaurant. There's nothing really new here except the lighting. And once again, the lighting throughout the entire ship has been completely redone. So, oh, here's an example though of something really cool. They did change this, so you can see. So the stained glass windows, during the daytime, portholes lit the windows to provide daylight. But at nighttime, if you were sitting for dinner, they still wanted the stained glass to appear nice and bright and have the area kind of feel calming and stuff. So they installed these really bright... Can I get closer? Jeez. I guess I can't, but they installed these really bright light bulbs. I don't know if you can tell, but they're on either side of the port lights on the side there. So they're really bright light bulbs that are like maybe six inches long. They're tubular in shape. They are incandescent, I believe, but they're just really bright incandescent. And Queen Mary used those, actually, I think, along her first class corridors. But anyway, they're really bright, and so at nighttime it would light up those stained glass lights, so that way you could at least still see the stained glass all beautifully lit at night. They have a few more open. Let me see. Unless I'm just looking at more stained glass. Yeah, they do have more open. Sorry, I gotta see where I'm going. Here we go. We can get closer. So there's those light bulbs. right there in the corner. Then there was another set on the bottom here, just like that. And that's how they lit it up at night. Now you might wonder, why would they have stained glass? Why wouldn't they just have a view of the ocean? Well, I was actually talking about this earlier in the live stream, which is that I never got to finish what I was going to say. But basically, people who took ocean liners back then, a lot of them were doing it because they had to. You didn't go on cruises at this time in history. Cruising wasn't a big thing. It was very, very niche, like super niche. You had to literally like chart a yacht, basically. So people who were on ocean liners, they were doing it because they had to. They needed to get to New York. Maybe they needed to get to London, whatever. And so there were people who had never been out on the open ocean. They were frightened. They didn't like the idea that this huge ocean, which for thousands of years has been known for killing humans who try to cross it, they were afraid to cross the ocean. So companies like, White Star Line, they set out to try to make people feel more comfortable with using their ships. That's why the ships appeared like these grand hotels. The idea was that they were palatial, they were fancy, they were beautiful. They reminded you of a hotel that you might stay at in a big city like New York or London or a city, like Paris or whatever. So the idea was to make you forget you were on the ocean and make you feel more like you were inside of a hotel. I mean, look around. You can't see the ocean. You can't. And so that was the whole idea. And so the daylight actually helped with that, because once again, remember how I said that if you didn't have natural light coming in all the time, even though you have all your light bulbs lit and everything, the natural light helps you feel more comfortable. It feels like daytime. But yet they didn't want people to look out and see the ocean and stuff like that. So they had stained glass and such. There were areas of the ship where you could look out and see the ocean. Obviously, if you were, having lunch at the Veranda Cafe or the Cafe Parisien, there were views of the ocean. Obviously, that's for people who wanted to see the ocean. You could go along the promenade and see the ocean. But the idea of the ship was, if you want to see the ocean, you can go to a spot where you can see the ocean. On cruise ships today, you almost don't have a choice. Almost anywhere you go on a cruise ship has views of the ocean because, surprise, surprise, you purchased that cruise so you could see the ocean. So just a little explanation of portholes and stuff. So we're going to go into the Turkish baths. That is a separate area you have to load into. But once again, it makes the whole ship easier to navigate and much better for your computer. So we've already been into the Turkish baths, but there are some new things I want to show you. So yeah, I've seen photos of the wreckage of Titanic, and the Turkish baths, a lot of these tiles and stuff are still there, still around. Pretty neat. So there are different therapy rooms. So in this one, they have the electric bath, which to my understanding is just a device full of light bulbs that you bathe in the light, because electric light was still kind of a new concept at this time, and so people thought it had therapeutic properties. So you bathed in electric light. This is a hydrotherapy room or a giant washroom, essentially. Get sprayed down and hosed down with water. They call it a shampooing room, to be totally honest. So it is therapy through cleaning, essentially. And you would have had someone help you out and stuff like that in this room. See, there's like a table you could sit on that you get sprayed with water. It is rather odd to us today, but that was the idea. You have a kind of like a sauna. It's a hot, wet room, then a hot, dry room, and then you have like a intermediate room, and then when you're all done, you have your cooling room. That's what this big room is, the cooling room. But part of the Turkish baths, I think, was optional separate thing was a dip in the pool. And I was telling a friend that these pools weren't very large because people didn't swim in them like we do today. Like today you got people who run laps around the pool and stuff like that. It's all part of exercise, whatever. Back then people just they kind of just floated around, you know, they kind of just paddled around the pool. It was just a dip. It was just something to enjoy the cool water and, you know, get your muscles moving, and that's about it. People didn't really do laps around pools. Even into the 1950s, it still wasn't that big of a deal. But yeah, somewhere along the lines, we demanded larger pools so we could do laps. Especially like, I think going into high schools and stuff like that, they had your aquatics teams and stuff like that. So larger pools became more of a thing. You got your dressing rooms, and then the pool was salt water because it was easy to just pull salt water from the ocean, filter it real quick, and then send it into the pool. So they were saltwater pools, and you would have to shower off afterwards to get the salt off of you, because you would smell like the ocean. But they were slightly filtered to keep them clean. So yeah, no chlorine, you guys, no chlorine. So yeah. I was going to explain something about Queen Mary's pool, but I thought, I'm not going to do that because I'll just be sitting there for like 5 more minutes. You guys probably don't want to sit there for that long. But there is something new here. Let me see if I can find it. This one, I think. Yep. F. Enter there, and then this is a linen storage area. So literally all the linen of the ship, I think, at least first class. I don't know if these are dirty linens though. I mean, why would they be in sacks if they were clean? They would be stacked up, right? So I'm thinking these are dirty linens. And you might go, oh, why would they store dirty linen? Why wouldn't they just wash it? Well, they have to wait till they get to port to wash it. I'm sure they had ways to wash things that needed immediate washing. But if it was things like tablecloths, bed sheets, whatever, even towels, well, that didn't have to be washed on the ship. Instead, see, why is this one separate? Like, why are they have, like, is there something dangerous in there? Maybe it's like a biohazard. You know what? That might be what it is. That could be like stuff like someone like pooped in their bed sheets and you gotta like keep it separate. But yeah, so they would unload all the dirty linens when they got to their next port, and I was going to say Cunard, but the Ocean Line Company, in this case White Star Line, would change them out with fresh ones and do all the laundering at their facilities in other areas. So it was not necessary to wash them out at sea. What is this? These look like confession booths. They could be clean linen storage closets. That could be what they are, but yeah, that is rather strange. This way to Scotland Road. Evan says downloading it right now. Download says 7 hours. Really? 7 hours? Jeez. It took me an hour to download this. Then again, I have really fast internet speeds, so that probably is why it took me only an hour. But yeah, 7 hours sounds a bit much. I was gonna show you this earlier, you guys. Oh wait, did I? Oh, that's interesting. I didn't even realize that this was open before it was completely sealed off. But anyway, right here is the stateroom of the Master at Arms. So, pretty neat. Where he slept. Yeah. But this might be his office next to it. This might have been where Jack would have been. You know, in Titanic, the movie. Here's more crew quarters. Yeah, just piled in here. Yep. So if we go up, we reach the it's a it's a multi-purpose room, but it doubled as hatches. And the idea was that this area wasn't necessarily used for storage. I mean, the idea was that you have these benches and tables here, so that way the third class could use it as a multi-purpose room. So as you can tell, third class, they could, they were in the same areas as the crew. They could walk around the same areas as the crew, which is just mind-boggling. Even on Queen Mary, their version of Scotland Road, I forget what they called theirs on Queen Mary. It completely escapes my memory. But on Queen Mary, their working alleyway was completely separate even from third class. So third class did not mingle with crew areas the way that they did on Titanic. But pretty neat that they had these multi-purpose rooms. And in case you're kind of wondering, like, maybe this seems familiar, this multi-purpose room is where Jack and Rose in the movie Titanic, where they were dancing. They would dance on one of these things. And in the movie, they did not have these ventilation machinery in place in the movie. I guess just to open the area up more, make it look more, I don't know, big, I guess. Makes filming the movie a lot easier. So this leads up, and we can only go up to the top of the stairs. It doesn't lead anywhere. Like, we can't go through the door or anything like that. Even these hatches, you walk up to them, it doesn't go anywhere. So it's the same thing for this one here. You try to go up, and it doesn't lead to any open doors. But we'll climb down here. Some of these are third class rooms. It's hard for me to tell because, once again, third class rooms were mixed amongst the crew rooms. So sometimes it's hard for me to know what's third class and what's, crew. Just making sure, like, none of these are open. But that was pretty cool that earlier in the live stream we found a third class stateroom that we could enter. I was pretty amazed by that because we didn't have that last time. Chains prevent me from going down there. Anyway, back this way. I'm just trying to see if, like, any of these doors, if I can go to the other side. Alright, so these lead back up to that multi-purpose room, in case you're wondering. I've checked through here. None of these are open still. But there is this little corridor, in case you're wondering. These are third class stateroom areas. Let's see. Chilling in the Frozen North said, is salt water used in the pools of today's cruise ships and the Queen Mary 2? So, to my understanding, Queen Mary 2 does have a saltwater pool. One of the pools is saltwater, to my best understanding, and that's the one in their big spa. They have a huge spa on Queen Mary 2, and the big pool in the spa, which is, I think, available for only adults, is salt water because it's considered therapeutic. But the other swimming pools on the ship, which are open to families and stuff like that, those are all chlorine, I believe, and those are all filtered in their own chlorine filterization. I could be wrong. There's a possibility that they might still be salt water, if only for, like, let's say, for any reason that the water were to slosh into the ocean. There might be rules against that. But as far as I understand, the rest of the pools on Queen Mary are chlorine. Or chlorinated, I should say. This is the third class dining room, separated by a watertight bulkhead. You had assigned seating, basically, so you knew where you were going. Pretty neat. There is definitely a difference between the side where the sunlight comes in and the side where the sunlight does not come in. It's just daylight. So, pretty neat. I never noticed these. Some kind of wood panels on the ceiling. I don't know what that's for. We go back up and back onto Scotland Road. We're nearing the end of our live stream, so I will take us back to the engine rooms for one last glance at Titanic's engines. But I did show you like pretty much most of the stuff that they've added. I'm sure there's still more things I haven't discovered. I mean, you saw at the beginning of this live stream, I walked into like a few places that I had yet to explore even after having this game for a week. So pretty neat. But here is the engine rooms once again. This is the forward engine room on Titanic, which had the two reciprocating engines. At the beginning of the live stream, I explained how the reciprocating engines work. So you can go back and see that if you want. For now, we're just going to kind of explore. You can see them all the way down there. Huge engines. This is the exhaust steam pipe. This exhausts all 4 cylinders. Well, I guess not all 4 cylinders. It exhausts the 2 low pressure cylinders, goes into the engine room next door to the turbine engine, and runs the turbine engine. So a reminder, if you're gonna try to go up these catwalks, this pipe will block your head. So what you do is you press Control to crouch, and then you move forward, and you can uncrouch. So pretty neat. I told my friend, I was like, I could have this, game running and just watch these engines for hours. It's crazy. Celeste said third class had staterooms or just quarters. So third class had both. Third class had staterooms or I guess you could say cabins. If you could say cabins if you'd like. They had cabins that some of them were, people in your party only. Some of them were that you could share with someone else. And then some of them were actually quarters or dormitories, if you will. Dormitories where you would share with multiple people. There were a few of those dormitories, mainly for single men, actually. So it's possible that one of those spaces that I looked in and I said, "Oh, this is crew's quarters." I think it was near the one near the what do you call it? Master at Arms's room. I walked into one right afterwards and I was like, "Oh, this is crew quarters." There's a possibility that was actually for single men, passengers. So, yeah, there's a possibility. But by the time you got to the era of Queen Mary, all third class, they had their own staterooms. Everybody had their own stateroom. So, whether you were a single man or a small family, you had your own stateroom. Mauritania also had individual staterooms for or cabins for their passengers. Mauritania did also have dormitories as well, but I think there's this big misunderstanding amongst Titanic fans, and it probably stems from the movie. Actually, the movie makes it sound like Mauritania was a dump compared to Titanic, but as much as I love Titanic, I actually do favor Mauritania more. One of the biggest things I think is so interesting about Mauritania is how most of the passenger spaces on Mauritania, I would venture to say like almost every passenger space on Mauritania was decorated. On Titanic, there were certain areas that were passenger spaces that just were not decorated at all. It was just white steel walls. So, you know, you look at third class dining room on Titanic, we were just in there. You could see it was bare steel walls. It was just nothing but stark white, which is fine. You know, the whiteness reminds you how clean the ship is. But on Mauritania, there was beautifully wood paneled walls in the third class saloon. The beautiful wood paneling reminded you were in luxury. So there are things about Mauritania that I prefer over Titanic. But there's this big misconception that Titanic was the most beautiful, most luxurious ship of the time. She was among the most beautiful, among the most luxurious. But there are things that other ships just had over Titanic, especially ones that came before her, like Mauritania. But yeah, pretty neat though. One thing Mauritania did not have was these beautiful engines running. Mauritania used steam turbines. You can't really see a steam turbine turning, but these engines, you can see them turning. Now it's really cool. We are actually facing forward on the ship, right? You probably don't know that, but we are. We're facing forward right now. And you notice the way the engines are turning, they're turning opposite each other. I think a lot of people would assume that when the propellers turn, they turn towards each other, but they don't. And that has to do with the way the hydrodynamics work. They found out that if propellers turned towards each other, the ship would become unbalanced, unstable as it goes through the ocean. But turning away from each other, it is more stable. And the reason why has to do with the way the propellers kick up the water. So it creates these spirals of moving water when the propellers turn it. And when you turn the propellers away from each other, that water flays out in opposite directions. But when you have the propellers turning towards each other, that water converges into each other, which causes that instability at the rear of the ship, which causes the ship to kind of vibrate side to side. So that's why ships like Titanic had propellers that turned away from each other. Now, this is where it gets really weird. The center propeller spun a certain direction. I don't remember if it was clockwise or counterclockwise, but it favored one of the directions. So you'd think that that would actually cause instability once again, because now you have two propellers turning in the same direction with one turning the opposite direction, but it didn't cause any issues. It's weird. I don't know how that works, but that's, yeah. So anyway, we'll get one more view on the catwalk. Let's see. We were just on that one. Is there another one here? No. Climb up here. Get another view. You can see the eccentric rods. So I explained how these engines work at the beginning of the live stream. You know, how there's difference between the main cylinders and the eccentric rods and all that stuff. So I'm not going to explain it again, but it is really cool. It is just really, really cool to watch all this. Celeste says, dangerous work environment. It certainly was, wasn't it? I mean, just imagine, like, these guys, they oiled these things they walk up onto the catwalks, right, with an oil can in their hand, and it's got a little dripper nozzle at the end, right, and you gotta reach over. There would have been a catwalk over there as well, but you reach over and, you know, you gotta, like, drop the dripper on there. Now, thankfully, these engines also had, you don't see it, but because not all the plumbing is in place, but there were automatic oilers, so it forced oil through plumbing that came down the engines. So again, the pipes are not on here, but there would have been little tiny pipes that come down these rods, and then oil would be force dripped into those areas. But, you know, if an engineer noticed smoking or something and maybe they realized that the oil was not getting where it needed to be, they could reach over and oil it themselves, and that's where it would get dangerous. Because imagine one of these things smacking you. I mean, you know, you'd look at it and you're like, oh, that would hurt, but, you know, you'd be okay. Not necessarily. I mean, you're looking at something that is literally pushing a ship through the Atlantic. Those are powerful engines. That thing smacks you, you're dead. So, yeah, we'll go back up. We'll try another catwalk. Let's see. We can use this one here. Wait, what? It's not open all the way at the end, is it? Oh, wait, I'm stuck here because this bucket. Darn it. Okay, well, we can use this one or that one. Oh, obviously not that one. Okay, so this one, we were just here. Yeah. So, pretty neat. Oh, Chilling says, good question, Chilling. Chilling says, question, Alex, were Titanic's screws directly driven by the engines or through a reduction gear? On Titanic, the engines were directly connected to the propeller shaft. Titanic did not have a reduction gear. So, yeah, literally each push of these engines drove the precise speed of the propellers. So what you see of the speed is what you would see outside on that propeller. But yeah, on certain turbine ships, once again, calling back to my knowledge of the Queen Mary, on the Queen Mary, she had reduction gears in order to allow the, well, actually the reduction gear was to allow the propeller to spin slower than what the engines would have done. But yeah, if anything, Titanic could have benefited from faster propellers. So if there was a type of gear attached to these, it would actually not be a reduction gear. It would be a, I don't know what they would call it, a multiplying gear? I don't know what to call it. It would multiply the speed. But that would also provide less power. So kind of weird how gears work. But yeah, but yeah, on Queen Mary, she needed reduction gears because the turbines spin way faster than reciprocating engines could spin. Way, way faster. And so you need to transfer that speed into power because even though they spin faster, they're weaker engines in general. So they use the reduction gears to turn that fast speed into slower, higher power. Oh, I guess I've never been here before because now I'm looking up. I'm like, oh, I can see through the hatch. So there we go. You can see through the hatch. But we can't go down this way. That's for certain. Hello, Fiona. Thanks for becoming a channel member. Let's see. Celeste said, if the props turned in the same direction, would there be any torque issues? Oh, that's a good question. So if they both turned in the same direction, would there be torque issues? I don't think so. Not for the individual propellers. Yeah, I don't think so. Because the torque is really just a measurement of the amount of force that's being applied. So the force being applied to the engine wouldn't change, or applied to the propeller, it wouldn't change. But I do think that if both, but the issue with running both propellers in the same direction is that the ship would start turning. So I believe if the propellers were going, okay, let's just say they were going, you're looking at them from the back of the ship looking forward. If they were going counterclockwise, the ship's stern would start moving to port while the bow was turning to starboard. And that's because those propellers would be like scooping at the water. They would be scooping at the water, moving the stern towards the direction of the turning. So, and then it was the same thing for the opposite. If they were going clockwise, the stern would turn towards the starboard because those engines would be scooping at the water going that way. So that's why you needed the engines to spin in opposing directions. Yeah. But yeah. It's really interesting how propellers work. It's just really, it's kind of, for me, it's kind of mind-blowing because I love learning about technology, but I am by no means an expert on technology. Look at that. They have, I didn't even, of course they would. I didn't even think about this, but of course they would. They have these, I think they call them gantry cranes. So they're cranes designed to lift up heavy weight. So if they needed to perform maintenance on Titanic's engines, you can't just lift the engines out of the ship. It's too difficult. But what you can do is you can unbolt all the tops and lift the lids off with these cranes and then, you know, take the pieces out, stuff like that. You can remove these great catwalks that we're on to access lower areas, replace parts. All that is using these gantry cranes. It's pretty cool. Pretty cool. I didn't even think about that. Even Queen Mary had that. I forgot that Queen Mary had that as well. That was something that just, I totally forgot that the engine rooms needed that. So we'll go to the second engine room where the turbine engine is. It's just around the corner. So there we go. This is the turbine engine room. Titanic had only one turbine engine, and it ran off of steam, expelled steam from the reciprocating engines. And so, basically, you see that white gear there? If you were to look past it further down, way down there, that big white shape is essentially the turbine engine. It's really far down there, though, and there's a whole lot of other white components, white painted components that are attached to it, which makes it look larger than it really is. But yeah, the turbine engine is way down there, and that ran off of the excess steam expelled from the main engines. So remember I told you about those big pipes? Those big pipes come in through here. Yeah, pretty neat. And so after the steam went through the turbine, turning the central propeller, then it exhausted into the let's see if I can get closer. It exhausted into the condensers. So that right there, just underneath those black beams, is one of the condensers. And the condenser condensed that steam back into water. That water was then pumped back into the system that fed the boilers. So it reused that water over and over again. It was only when they felt that the water was overused that they would dump it into the ocean and then pull new ocean water into the ship, filter it into clean water. So yeah, pretty neat. These are valves, in case you're wondering. These giant black cylindrical things. These are valves for directing the steam. So I'd have to have the plans in front of me to kind of interpret how the valves work and stuff like that. But that's what they are. They're just giant valves. Really crazy. And then we can go up the ladder a little bit. We can't go too far, but these are little steam engines. They've even got a little flywheel weight at the end. but they look like generators, steam generators. So you got two cylinders, possibly a high and low pressure cylinder, turns the flywheel, but also generates power through the turbo thing. So I think that's what it is. I think they are power generators. They might be emergency generators because I'm pretty sure Titanic's generators were further down. They were located in this room, but further down and off to the side. So these might be emergency generators. I was wondering what they were. Unfortunately, this sledgehammer is blocking our way, so we can't climb around this room anymore. We have to go back down. So yeah. All right. I was gonna take us to the poop deck at the very end of the live stream. We're reaching the end of the live stream, so I'm gonna take us to the poop deck. There should be a staircase here. Yep, here we go. Can I go through these doors? To second class. No. I don't want to go to second class. So we're in the aft well deck. Titanic had two well decks, one forward, one aft. Queen Mary had only one forward well deck. So here we are at the stern. You can see all the cowl vents that ventilate the interiors of the ship. You can see more capstans for the stern of the ship, allowing them to moor the ship to a dock. You've got another spare anchor here, very small. Now, it's funny, if you look at this flagpole, there is a hinge at the bottom. So the flagpole can be turned inward like this. And it's funny because I was kind of like, why would a flagpole need a hinge? Like, that's weird, you know? Why? And, but I have my suspicions. I have my suspicions that the flagpole could double as a crane for that little anchor. That's my thing. I think that's what it was. I could be wrong, but I'm like, why would a flagpole need a hinge? You know, like, I'm pretty sure it doubled as a crane for moving that extra anchor over the edge and down. Mark my words. That's what it was for. Wonder if this door goes anywhere. No. But yeah, so we're at the docking bridge. Now, we didn't even, I mean, we've been on this live stream for, it's going to be 3 hours now. 3 hours, you guys. And we've only seen some of the areas they've added to this game. Some. And we haven't even seen all of the areas that have pre-existed on the game. We barely skipped through second class. We barely saw the spaces on first class. And we barely saw some of the things they added to the game. So it is incredible, you guys. If your computer can run this game, I do highly suggest you get it. When the stream is over, I'm gonna go get a link that I can paste into the description of the video for people to download the game, and then I will try to post it in a separate comment in the comment section for people who can't find it in the description. But yeah, if your computer can run this game, you should get it. It's really fun, and you can explore so much of the ship, and it's, again, the game is free, so, and it's better optimized than all previous versions, so that way more people can play it. So let me just answer some more questions. I see some people are leaving me questions. Let's see. Celeste says, did the iceberg leave ice chunks on the forward well deck? Oh, that I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. Chilling says, Alex, if the engines are turning the screws, why is there no wake? I think the engines were running dead slow. I'm pretty sure they were running dead slow. Because as you can see, the ship is not moving in the ocean. It's perfectly still. And when a ship is out at sea, you never want to stop the engines because, you know, it might be difficult to get them started again. Not that it would be impossible, just difficult. Plus, you want to keep everything running, so if you need to get going, it won't take you a whole day to get that, you know, going. So the ships would run their propellers at dead slow, which wouldn't necessarily be enough to really significantly move you through the ocean. So it's a possibility that's why we don't see a wake, is because the ship is not actually moving through the ocean. If anything, it's slowly drifting because the engines are at dead slow. So, in fact, let me see. Maybe this thing here might tell us. Oh, look at that. So this is the engine telegraph. It says it's at stop, but we saw that the engines were running. So I don't know why this would be at stop. It would either be at, you know, slow. It would be at slow ahead. Yeah, I don't know. But yeah, it's. Look at that. I don't know what that is for, but yeah. So that's why there's no wake. Thank you, Ozzy. Boop says, how much bigger was Titanic than the Olympic? Ooh, I don't know. I think it was like a couple hundred, maybe a couple. Oh, it was a couple thousand gross register tons, but well, not a couple thousand. It was probably like less than. I don't know. I don't. You know, I don't know. I don't know. Yeah, Titanic was the same length as Olympic, just yeah, more gross tonnage. Anyway, folks, I am going to end the live stream now, but I wanted to thank you all for joining me. This is really fun. I'm going to definitely do a lot more of these. I usually do them about like once a month. I play the game and, you know, hang out with people on a live stream. I'm thinking about posting. I recorded a video of my first reaction to the game. If you guys want to see that, let me know, because I don't know. Do people actually want to see my first reaction to the game? So I'll post that if you guys want that. And then I might even do like a video tour of Titanic, but just silent tour, just kind of going around so you guys don't see my face in the corner of the screen. But I don't know if people want to see that. I don't know. But yeah, let me know in the comments below. But anyway, you guys, I'm going to end the live stream now. Thank you all for watching, and I will see you all next time. Bye-bye.